Okay, so welcome to another installment of Exploring Consciousness with the Alchemy Hub, and we've gone straight into physical pain and the gift that it can be. Now, this is not to be misunderstood that we're saying, you know, we're welcoming it and, you know, we should, you know, go out there and hurt ourselves and all of that. And we are also not taking away, you know, the effort that it takes to get through it and the hurt it, you know, and the pain it creates. But, you know, Robin was just saying something, you know, she's looking for the gift in the pain. Mm-hmm. Do you wanna maybe repeat what you said, because I forgot to record, but.
Okay, what I had said was, you know, because we were already speaking of it, that the last couple of days, one of the things had come to my attention that during our lifetimes, there have been many times that we've been offered or given gifts and we've not accepted them or denied them or rejected them or didn't think of them as a gift. And so what I said was now, when things are coming up and maybe tough things and difficult things, I've been trying to bring that into my consciousness and say, if there's any gifts that has to do with this that I haven't accepted before or I haven't acknowledged before, let me embrace them and allow them to help move and put me in that now space of where I can be. And I try to include, it's not just for me personally, it's for the whole, you know, the we. And so especially recently with so many things physically, emotionally, you know, living, cost of gas, the whole thing, really thinking that how many of us have been taught and told because of programming not to accept these things that have come along our way, you know? So it's kind of opening the back door again to let those gifts come back in. And I think I said it a little bit differently this time, but.
No, absolutely. No, and absolutely right. And the good thing about this as well, because where does that lead us into looking? It leads us into looking at redefining, like we've been saying all along over the last couple of shows, redefining words, redefining concepts, redefining energies, redefining, because it's that part of that destruction phase that we're going through. We can call it destruction because it feels slightly destructive, right? Losing our identity and losing everything that has been familiar to us. And, you know, it's getting more and more difficult to hold on to the old, you know? So, you know, as a true consciousness explorer, you might as well just say, okay, well, fuck it, you know, let's let it go. Let's get to that, you know, edge of unknowingness, or some call it the razor's blade, walking on a razor's blade or something, you know, it's a bit of a weird one to look at, but hey, some feel like that, so that we can allow the new to come in. And the main thing is that letting go of all the definition and significances and everything, the viewpoints, is because the new that is coming in is going to be so different that we do not have a reference point for it, because that thing, and we have to remind ourselves for that, it's never happened on this planet, what's happening at the moment. Yeah, has never happened. So there's nobody out there, no guru, no teacher can tell us what it's like. This is why we keep saying we are the teachers. We have to step into our own teacher roles and look at what's happening from the inside as our gifts and our contributions are switching on through the letting go of the programming and the conditioning. It's super, super, super exciting. And does it hurt at times? Absolutely, yes. Emotionally, physically, spiritually, it does hurt. Because that letting go often gets connected and associated with fear. That fear is on its way out as well. So we have to start redefining that too. So when we look at the gifts of physical pain, just to explore that a little bit further, what kind of gifts could it be from a physical pain in a general perspective, from a general perspective?
Brings your awareness to it.
Say again?
It brings your awareness that you've got something to reflect on.
Yeah. So a rising raising of our awareness. Yeah.
It also brings you back in the body, right? I mean, it's hard to be out of body when you're hurting.
Interesting. That's a very good one. And that's one of those main key parameters in this time now. You know, we got, and you see, this is interesting as well, because let's just think about this, as the time is collapsing, well, it's already collapsed, and as we're waking up to it, and you know, the past, the future, and the present, everything comes together, we're almost forced into the present moment, right? We're almost forced into the bodies, like Jen just said, and this is when now the pain starts hurting. Now the bodies start actually, because it's less easy now, or maybe not, I don't know, is it less easy or not to leave our bodies?
That's easy.
It's easier for me to leave my body right now than it was before.
You know, there was a thing that, Jen, that you said when you were talking before too, and what I was seeing was that by doing what you were saying, it actually helps us raise the vibration that we're emitting. And so by stepping into those, what we actually do is we actually allow our being to vibrate at a pure energy, then which allows us to be more aware of and access and step into those higher frequency realms. So, you know, it does more than just this physical thing. It actually helps us then see into other dimensions, or have a pure contact with those other dimensions of self. Then, you know, so that's a really important thing, because it takes us beyond just this scope and gives us a bigger scope of what it may be doing too.
Mm-hmm. And this is quite an important point you guys are making, I think, because this is when we say we got to step up that neutrality. We got to step up the sovereignty. We got to actually really have you know, I'm obviously going into the understanding or understanding bit of it, because that's just what I like. I like to have a little arc, a parameter where I can throw everything in, you know, at the end of the day. And then you go into just feeling and perceiving it. But the way I look at it is that, you know, we are at the moment forging this new body.
Mm-hmm.
And astral body doesn't cut it. Yeah. It's not astral travel that what we're doing. You know, that's what we are supposedly be doing when we're taking our bodies with us. We're starting. So I found an expression for it, and I can't remember who said it first. It doesn't really matter. They called it a radiant body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the radiant body is full of photonic light.
Mm-hmm.
It's integration of the light body and all the other bodies into the physicality. Mm-hmm. Now, that is now the distinction we got to make. Because yes, we can use that radiant body to go and travel with, but then we also use that radiant body to just integrate it and solidify it nicely into this realm, you know? So I would like to invite us to look into, we're no longer leaving the body like we used to, yeah, which was very much associated with the programming and the emotional, the traumatic experiences and how easy it is to flip out of your body and all that. I'd like to start looking at it now. We are creating, we're fortifying, we're forging this new radiant body that it's one radiant body that has the capacity to solidify or to liquidize, or to become gaseous, or whatever etheric in any sort of way that is required for us to do whatever we want to do with it. There's a different energy to that, because that radiant body incorporates the pure soul essence, the one we've been distilling, fermenting, distilling, you know, separating. Of course, I'm talking all about this alchemical stuff now that I've started looking into, which is lovely because it gives me that container, that holy grail, you know. It's actually what it says. We are building that radiant body is the philosopher's stone. So if you ever looked into finding the philosopher's stone, it's yours, it's your body, it's you, the soul essence, the spirit integrated in your radiant body into matter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a stone, okay? It's called a stone. It's a diamond. It's not even a crystal. There's no trap. Remember, the crystal still got the trap. Yes, wisdom, la, 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 but also the other crap, you know? And this is what happened to us as our crystalline bodies. We're just taking all the negativity, the programming and everything, and crystallized it. And it was a trap at some stage, if you want to look at it that way. I think Linda said this the other day, and I thought, so good, like that. And now we're going to purify it as we're purifying the soul essence, right? As we're integrating the shards, parts, and avatars. Mm-hmm. So we're becoming this diamond body. We're becoming a crystal clear diamond. And that's the radiant body. And that has that's the shapeshifter. That can change. And again, don't misunderstand it from the shamanic definition of shapeshifting, that we're using our bodies to go into horses and all that sort of things, you know. No, I use it from an alchemical perspective of spinning, you know, all the different metals into gold. You know, it's the gold diamond body. And that is precious, that is pure, that is sovereign. There's no need for protection because the light illuminates and creates the protection around us. Yeah. I don't know why I'm saying this. What did we talk about? Oh, getting out in and out the bodies. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
yeah. Okay. Done.
I was sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What sparked me when you were just speaking, Martina, is that you know, the radiant body, that the way that you're speaking of it, and what we're doing now is we are these cosmic beings, right? And we're having right now an awareness of an experience here as a 3D being. And so that radiant body that you're talking about is that to me, kind of being more totally connected to your fuller being, you know, and allowing, instead of, you know, like, you know, you're across the ocean and we're over here, bringing them close together so that they got the Zoom going on all the time, you know, and it's not just out there in our bigger selves, it's with us in our consciousness here now. And it's allowing us then to have that cable, Ethernet, you know, whatever it is, fuller communication and giving and taking and sharing with our fuller beingness that we may not be aware of. And so that radiant light then in this form, other people can see it, can receive it, can respond to it, you know. So that's really a you know, kind of a cool thing to put in somebody's imagination now. Oh, it must be going behind the sun. You know, it's a good thing to put out there for people to put in their imagination, because this is really a great time to like start allowing, you know, it's like getting up in the morning and turning on the news and you're hearing somebody, they're telling you about everything that's going on for the day, or you put on your favorite song and you give yourself that 5 minutes of just feeling that vibration first, you know. It's, I think that radiant body, sorry, I kind of flipped out there for a second. That radiant body really is kind of that Passover bridge, that connecting to that fuller us.
So the radiant body is the result of the bridge. Okay. The radiant body that includes everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's really important, because the bridge, we've been bridging now by going into individuation. Yeah. All these years that we talked about soul integration, soul individuation, I am individuation, all of that. That's still a separation as such. Okay.
Right. Right.
Now we're going to go and bring the light body and create it all together. So what does that mean? We're taking now all the work that we've done on the soul integration. Yeah. The I am, the soul essence, And I'd like to make this into a, because what really helps me to see the bigger picture of all of that, okay? So the soul in essence that is walking the dimensions. It's all part of, we're all a copy of the universe, right? We're all a copy of the universe. And then obviously not just one copy, all a multitude of holographic copies of the universe. And that doesn't make us less real. Yeah, it makes us very, very real, you know. But what I'm saying is that the soul essence that we have been now integrating from all these different lifetimes that we've had, different dimensions, galaxies, universes, all of that, that is still an individual, they call it a monad, an individual soul monad. It's your individuality in a way. Yeah, it's all your experiences plus. And we're going to get to that today because we're actually leading perfectly into what I want to revisit. So there is a soul monad, and that's the soul essence we're talking about. Now, that's not the radiant body, okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're bringing in, that's just a certain level of this alchemical process that we've gone through distillation and fermentation and all of that, yeah, to purify that soul. Now we're going to actually, look, it's not that we didn't do that before, but now we can do it with much more awareness because the programming has lessened. So now we can really bring that spirit that is a different monad almost, you know, it's all the same, but sort of bring that in and add it nicely, that light body coming into the soul body almost now, you know, and connect it into our physical body. So everything is going to connect into the physical body. So what's going to happen is the body has to change in order to hold that light, that spirit that is coming in. Now, and we can look at this from so many different angles because the soul, look, we've done shows about male and female, right? That was a contemplation. We had to work male and female because, you know, we had to find the male and the female polarity within ourselves and start harmonizing that, bringing that to a balance. Now we're going to take it a notch up and say the soul is the female aspect. The soul is the male aspect. Okay. And the spirit is the female aspect. And I'm just throwing that out. You can say, fuck that. No, I don't want it. I want it the other way around. But when I look at that, it makes a lot of sense because the soul is out there doing, acting, living. The spirit itself is not is part of all of that. But as we are dissociating it for the acknowledgement of all of it, that is the female energy. You know, the female energy is the imagination. It's within ourselves, it's the imagination. The male within ourselves, and of course, there is a reflection of that in our partners, yeah? But we're not going to go down this road now. We're going to keep it all within ourselves. So the female is the imagination, comes up with creative ideas. The female is on the edge of unknowingness, right? It's okay, well, whoa, what can I bring in here? And then the male comes in, okay, well, let me action on that. Let me do something with that. So the male is the being, the doing, whereas the female is the being. And as we are starting to create this radiant body that is all in matter, because the radiant body is going through all the different versions, but it's also matter. So male, female, creating matter, soul, spirit, creating matter, being, doing, creating matter, creating form, creating us, the solidified radiant body that can shapeshift into something else. Yeah, the having, because through, and this is actually with our today's topic, you know, it's like the alchemy of bedohaving. Being female, being spirit, being. Male soul, male doing, matter have. As we're bringing those elements together, we're creating. And this is where the strength is. And this is what the embodied spirituality is all about. We're not going to disappear in the spiritual realms. We're not going to disappear in our soul, essence realms. No, we're going to combine all of it and bring it into matter and create with it. So there was a time where after, I couldn't do the male female anymore, because it was, okay, this is integrated now. So we can't really dissociate it unless we really want to drill down onto something. Now I'm going to say to you guys, I can't do that doing and being and having anymore, because this is now coming together as this philosopher's stone. I'm just going to let you talk now what this brings up.
Tanya did put a note in, I think, that Harmonia is trying to get into the room.
Yeah, it's not coming up.
No. Okay.
She's not here. Yeah.
It's interesting because we all are, you've talked about this a lot, especially the first few Zooms that I came in and joined your group about going elsewhere, traveling in other parts of the universe and stuff. And as you were talking, it came back to me that what you're talking about now is really part of that next step, but we're all doing it. And so it's allowing us all to co-create that newer, and maybe it's 1,000 years in the future, but it's going to start now. And so the effects will start now. But what you're talking about really took me back to what you used to say quite frequently about, going out to another place in time and kind of, being that explorer, that, traveler. But it seems like it's pulling things more together and pulling people together, so that it's a more harmonious creation of what's going to happen. And maybe you're creating in this universe, and maybe Amy's creating in that universe, and maybe Jennifer and Alfredo are creating in this universe, but it's still a mechanism, an experiential mechanism that we're all part of. So it really seems like right now, some of the things that we're kind of treading through is possibly making that part more active now, that we are being more actively creating now.
So absolutely. The thing is, in the old days, let's call it the old days, it was an automatic response that the body just got kicked out when we went into emotional overload, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about this, and this happens again still, of course, yeah, all the time. I'm not saying this is not going to happen. This is overlapping all the time. What I'm looking at now is to allow myself to travel in full consciousness and my choice with the fortified, with the forged, a strong, radiant body that has a technology of light that is the protection in itself. There's no need for boundaries and, to do our little shields and metal this and, all of that. And that's what I'm saying. Now, and also what's happening because of the collapse of the time, we can no longer hide in the past or in the future, because everything's happened simultaneously. Mm-hmm. So what you were saying is, Robin, you're absolutely right. We are simultaneously living now. Well, look, it started, a couple of years back already when the transition of the planet happened into the new broadband frequency. But now we're just waking up to it, right? We're just now, okay, this is what it feels like now. So it's almost like when you wake up in the morning, it's no longer, oh, this is dream and this is that. You're living both now. And how do we do this? Because we've said already last time is everything is becoming more alive, right? And we starting to look beyond everything. So as we're talking, if you just get a sense of, we're talking, we've got 6 people here, including myself, but how many people are really here? Mm-hmm. We're having so much more awareness now. What we're saying, how the signature frequency, and this is what we're going to remind me of this because I want to talk about this, is becoming more interesting, because these were the things we learned. Yeah, we're going to revisit a little bit the shows I did with AB on the signature frequency, because, you know, there was a lot of that, what we discussed, and we understood it. And now it's like, oh, now I'm experiencing it. Because you see, knowledge means nothing if we're not experiencing it and turning it into wisdom. Mm-hmm. This is where the authenticity comes through. I mean, we can repeat what Abby says or what Linda says or God knows everybody else says. We need to start experiencing it. Then we can speak from an authentic truth perspective, and then people will listen. Not mm-hmm. that we then care anymore if they listen or not, but, you know, that's really the thing. So this simultaneous living is happening, if you want it or not. And if you want to have a smooth and exciting and joyful and blissful experience, then you might want to look at that and say, okay, so soul essence, spirit coming in, let's put it all together. Mm-hmm. Let's look at what's happening. You know, I did a little walk today. Linda Good McGillis, she's a lovely and new kid. No, not new kid. Mary introduced me to her because she's a walk-in as well, and I started looking at her, and she's got a very nice signature frequency. So check her out. I think we've got a bit of a conversation on our Earth Nouveau about Linda. So she's good to check out as well.
I got some transcribed something I'd like to share because I've been listening to Linda a lot. That's okay. Really, yeah. Oh, right now?
Yeah, why not? Does it fit?
Okay. It's kind of everything y'all been talking about. I was like, yeah. That's everything I've been transcribing. It's been like, my journal is just getting full of all this stuff. But I've been doing everything Andrew taught us, you know, like to journal your journey. You know, not just listen, but like listen, transcribe it, write it, put it into practice, use the writing and recording and all that stuff. Bring it into fruition. So it's more like integrated, you know. But I'm with Malik right now, so bear with me. So if y'all want to experience, it's just information. You gotta remember to remain neutral.
No,
and yeah, if y'all are ready, I'll take the. Yeah, I mean, if people are doing that work, they'll. Yeah.
Can we say hello to Malik? If we want to say hello to Malik, please.
He's over here always causing trouble. He's the super psychic of the family.
Nice to meet you, Malik.
Hello.
Yes.
He's teaching me the most valuable lessons of life, how to just, He's been definitely my biggest teacher.
Oh,
What's up?
I was just going to ask you.
Oh, I can't hear you. Say it again. Hello?
No, I was just going to say if he's got a message for us.
Oh, you got anything to say, Melly?
Do you want to tell us?
He's always just speaking light language. He doesn't want to. I mean, he knows a little bit of English, but he prefers to use this light language.
I was going to ask, what country is he? Where does his genetics come from?
Oh yeah. So I'm a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of Mexican and Native American and some other stuff, a little bit of Japanese. And then my partner, she's from Honduras. So he's got, you know, a little bit of all that stuff, but he's definitely a reflection of a lot of like the things that we have.
I feel he's also connected across the Pacific too, from where you all are in Central America. If you go west from there, he's tied into that the Western, like not necessarily Hawaii, but to Tibet and Nepal, that kind of thing too.
Interesting. Yeah, he's super. Hey, stop. And he loves to play with water. It doesn't matter where it is. He'll walk into a whole duck pond of water like Jesus Christ and just not even hesitate. So but yeah, I had an exercise I want to share with you. I'm going to share with y'all on the go because the situation, I'm not going to try to avoid, or I don't know, I just don't want to, I don't know. I'm changing the way I do things and the way I, operate. Anyways, I've been realizing I've been complicating my journey because I was like, oh, I want to have like this super visual, experience because Andrew's material, it's always like, oh yeah, because I've had a lot of those experiences and like I'm always like grasping on and want to like hold on to them and go back to them, but I just gotta let them go. And for me, like total concentration, breathing into my heart was always the best tool for me. So, and Linda kind of reminded me about that, and that's what I've been going back to because it's like the simplest and easiest way for me to be in my heart and not overcomplicate my journey. And on top of that, it helps me quiet my mind because my mind will lead me astray quite a bit, Anyways, I call it the embodied sensory feeling breathing exercise. Allow yourself to feel. Put your hand on your heart with conscious awareness and breathe continuously, rhythmically, harmoniously inwards with embodied awareness. Let go of the impulsive urge to think or do. As with each breath we take, the body becomes more relaxed. Each inhale of light you take in expands your light. You are not just this physical vessel. You are consciousness. You are awareness. A multi-dimensional, multifaceted diamond light body crystalline experience. You are existing and not existing simultaneously everywhere all at once, throughout all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes. Feel your heart before you speak. And you can say out loud with me if you want, or just observe or say it to yourself, whatever you prefer. Divine I am presence. Please close all mental and ascended mental channels. Please close all mental and ascended mental channels and allow no access to any energy, entity, or being into my field without my permission. Remove them from my physical presence that are not in alignment with my highest and greatest good for all, or my soul's path going forward. Please align me in all realms, timelines, all density, dimensional frequency worlds. Allow me to align to the new sun grid. Please help me remember the dreams that I need to remember. Download me the solar code informations on how to scan my vessel in all areas and help reveal to me the stuck emotions that my physical vessel has been witness to with my 5 physical senses to be neutralized and released back to the light. Reveal to me the steep, stuck emotions that my physical, oh wait, hold on. Embrace. As we embrace the silence of the mind and allow our extrasensory gifts to flourish, as we let go of the need to consume external information and stimulus. Your knowingness and wisdom is all within. Simply continue to release all this excessive external information and breathe in more light. As the sun is pure light. Light is information. So let's face and breathe the sun. As in this sacred neutrality, we are the lights. We are in a state of unconditional love, where there is no judgment or separation. There is no sides, factions, races, or forms of polarity. As in neutrality, it is all observable information in full fluid flow. Continue to learn and master, dancing and weaving in between the light and the dark blade, and let go of the need to cut others with your sword of truth, as it will come back and cut you. As everything comes full circle like a boomerang, what you put out is what you get back. You reap what you sow. We neutralize and bring balance to our environment, being the light and remaining neutral. Be aware of your habits, patterns, programs, and limiting beliefs, and how they could distort information. As all beliefs and truths can be considered a lie, as they can pull you out of neutrality. Likes, dislikes, polarities, separations, my truth, your truth, opinions, beliefs. What frequency of truth are you still holding on to that you have not let go of? Take this moment to ask yourself multidimensionally, what thoughts or stories am I still entertaining that keep me looping within the mind? Where do I invest my emotions out here? What in the external am I still emotionally attached to from the ego mind? What or where do I give meaning to life? Where do I invest my energy and focus? Why must I understand and go external for information, entertaining my ego mind versus asking my internal heart wisdom and intelligence, or heart intelligence? Where am I justifying my actions and behaviors with rights, wrongs, likes, dislikes, polarities, and separations? Where am I giving my power away, limiting myself with words or thoughts, knowingly or unknowingly? Is what I say, think, and do in alignment? Truly? Am I fully and truly embodying my awareness? As I silence the mind, what new sensory perceptions am I feeling? What mirrors and messages out here have I not acknowledged about myself and making it about others? And if I'm judged by my code of honor, my morality, my honesty, my integrity, and my ethics, am I making choices that are of the highest and greatest good of all? As sun is pure light, light is information. Let's breathe in and take in the new light as we continue to let go of all external information, narratives, stories, simulations, instant gratifications, and distractions. Allow your inner wisdom to flourish as you have all the answers within. Wisdom comes from experiences. Let's gather our own wisdom instead of piggybacking on the wisdom of others, which lacks our own personal experiences. Every action, thought, emotion is put into the quantum realm and will return back to us as we reap what we sow. When we are caught up in the mind, thinking of the past or the future, we are not fully embodying the moment here now. A frame of reference to consider. 3Ds is the emotions. 4D is the thoughts. 5D is no thoughts or emotions, simply sensory feeling. As you fully embody your awareness, say from your heart. Body, please release all tensions within the fascia and muscles and allow them to relax, unwind, and unravel. Allow the stuck emotions within the body to reveal themselves and be exposed to the light for healing and transmutation. Embrace the feeling of discomfort. Embrace the feeling of discomfort or whatever you avoid knowingly or unknowingly. Allow yourself to feel as we walk through and shatter the mirrors with our lights. I am the light. You are the light. Continue to embody your awareness and be the light. Choose to remain neutral. Shine your light as we continue to transmute and transform our environment with our light and love all unconditionally, no matter what presents itself in the moment. Love all aspects of yourself. And remember, we are all one. It is not just about you or me, it's about all of us as a collective, dancing hand in hand on this journey of self-mastery at the highest levels. Let joy, bliss, and abundance show itself to you as you nurture a light, which is the light of all, light for all. Your radiant light is your protection. Emanate that and continue to love everything in this eternal moment of the here now. And that's it. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks, Alfredo.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So bear with me with this. I think it was a little sketchy because I got to keep an eye on Malik and stuff. Yeah.
Male,
That was
right?
very nice.
Male,
Very nice, Alfredo. Thank you.
and such a beautiful.
You're welcome.
Beautiful to have it presented by a male.
Mm-hmm.
Really, reflecting that soul essence, purification that we consider a male aspect of ourselves, being so beautifully expressed by a male, and his amazing light language, Malik. Fantastic, good. Powerful.
I want to ask, did any of you feel or experience anything while he was talking? Did any of you feel any changes in your body or your fields or anything? Did you have any experiential stuff going on? Anybody?
I would like to say something. At the very almost ending part of what he was saying, I had the vision of the tail of a peacock, but I saw it from the back side where like the peacock is walking forward and I'm sort of like behind the bird and the tail was closed up. So I saw the shape of the closed up tail and I had that quick vision of that.
Oh, cool. Peacock feathers are very spiritual and very healing. And one single feather has a phenomenal power with someone who really knows what it has. So that's pretty powerful, Lana.
Well, it probably is a representation of the whole because
yes.
Alfredo's thing there. I don't have a word to say right now. Includes a collective, and when I was listening to him, it felt like that Alfredo put so much wisdom into writing that, and so from what you're saying there, Robin, what it represents, it feels like it's an all inclusion of all that is on here, all that would be listening, and inclusion of even beyond that. Like
Yeah, I
into
think
the
I think
future.
that's very true. It felt like when you were talking that it wasn't just for you, but it was a whole, you know, because of a peacock has hundreds of thousands of feathers. I don't know, you know, it was representing like groups, not just single entities. Yeah, I agree.
And the fact that it was like closed up,
Mhm.
it's at the point where we're at the cusp of like an opening. So it's
Yeah,
not quite open yet. It's just the beginning. It's the starting phase of it.
potential.
Yeah, the potential, right? That's the right good word to use. So that's why I'm seeing it from the back, and it's like just a bird being very quiet, and it's just minding its own business, not showing off its beautiful feathers, like rearing up its ego and trying to show off, kind of thing. If that makes sense. But it's just being in that like silent, the silent of the mind, like Alfredo said in there. It's just being very about its business at the moment, and eventually those feathers will open up and be all inclusive.
Nice. Thanks for sharing your experience. It's cool.
Yeah.
A lot of expansion when Alfredo was going through that, but I kept getting like caught in his flow, and I kept just thinking like I would love to see him at like an open mic night. Like I bet like you just let it flow. Good rhythm.
Might have to have a drink or two, but I probably could. I have moments where I'm like super quiet. I don't want to say nothing. I have moments where I can't keep my mouth shut. It's just pouring out like an open faucet. So yelling and screaming, just I don't know. Just every day is different. But no, that'll be a good idea to get me out of my comfort zone, because I feel like I need to go put myself out there more. And
Alfredo, I noticed that you kept it clean as well.
oh yeah. Everything's set into the quantum realm. I mean, I'm sure Malik. Yeah.
That's what children bring around you. When you're around children, you have to keep it clean. They bring that purity in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alfredo, I just wanted to share. Like Lana was saying, the collective, but also I was walking down a path with you. It was like I was like you were the Pied Piper or something. And it was like I was just following you, and all that energy, like whatever you were putting out was like just like the wind going behind, and everybody that was behind you can feel everything that you were saying. And it just had that, it had that like just me there, but yet there were more, you know, all of the world, people, beings. That's how it felt for me, like just following the Pied Piper.
It's
And
like
words.
Amy, what you're saying is it's making me think of his words were rolling off the feathers of the tail of the peacock and everything behind it, and you were following on behind. So you're receiving the words as they're flowing down the feathers. So that's a great,
it had like this I don't want word to use. It's not vibration. It was definitely a certain vibration of healing,
I remember the feathers of the peacock are many colors, so it has all the frequency of colors in there as well.
Yeah.
Great, Alfredo. Well done.
That's beautiful. Oh, thank you, Lana. I wanted to share with y'all because I know, like, I've been thinking about some of the questions I asked, and I was like, why do I go to the Earth Nouveau Gathering? So it's like I'm emotionally invested to it, and it has a meaning to my life because, you know, I have a nice connection with y'all, and just it's nice to share I don't know. It's just nice to be here with y'all.
When you were speaking, I'll just say it real quick because I think Martina wants to say something too. For me, it was like that, what do you call it? The trunk of the body, it really felt like almost like it was a trunk of a tree. And I could feel like a more, the word I want to use is substantial, but I don't know if that's the right word. It just felt like so much more was being integrated or was being experienced right here and now in this form of all the stuff that you were talking about. And I, like Amy, was just kind of like flowing along with you. And it was like, it didn't matter what you were saying or the words that you said, it was like going along with that flow and allowing that energy. But it was like, it was kind of amazing for me because it was really physically, very, I could feel it so much in the trunk of my body. It was kind of like it was maybe reconstructing it again, So, and it felt like all those things that have been going on in the last few years, kind of like we're having resolution and we're kind of like going, yeah, I don't have to fight it anymore. I just simply say, fine, you can be there, but you have to use your own energy. I won't support you with my energy. I bless you and I release you. And if you want to put it up there in the sky, go ahead, but I'm not going to support you with my energy of it, and it's kind of like giving back the power to the people, but disengaging myself so I'm not tied in it. So I was really feeling it personally. So that's why I was asking everybody else what they were feeling,
Nice. That's awesome. I always wonder if my frequency or whatever, because it affects people, because when I say things or say certain things, people, they put their hands on their heart and they feel something. I noticed that. They come into my field.
Okay. So
Oh yeah.
I just want to point something out now.
Yeah, go ahead.
What just happened? Yeah. We had the male, willpower, integrity, determination, speaking the signature frequency. Yeah, we had vibration mentioned by Amy. We had frequency mentioned by Alfredo. Now, we had the females here in the room stepping into their imagination and bringing metaphorically, not talking about the words. Nobody spoke about the words. Brought up metaphors. Now I need to bring in now the harmony, the third element of the signature frequency. So the vibration, the frequency that Alfredo presented to ourselves created in this time-space equation a harmony that allowed us to step into our imaginative place. And lots of you have already said, what has that created for the future? Not just in this time-space equation, but outside of it. This is really potent and powerful that we all need to acknowledge you're already doing it. Now, the other thing I want to mention here now is, and this is a really cool, beautiful, it just synchronistically led us into what I want to revisit here, because as we're clearing the soul essence, we're purifying that. Remember AB talking about the 80-20 DNA rule, which is a ballpark. Not everybody has that, obviously, as he says. Now, as we're purifying the programming, the soul programming, globally from the entire individual soul monad, the 80% get less, right? Because that's all memories. So what we are doing with the programming, we are clearing the programming, and by doing that, we're changing the chemical information into light information. Now, that doesn't mean that, all the drama, trauma, blah, blah, goes away. It's just outside now. It's not cluttering up our vehicle that we're needing to create a radiant body. And we have access to it every time. If we feel like we want to play the victim, you can go straight right there. It's all there. It's all in the collective, yeah? That's where the focus at the end of the day comes in. So what happens as the 80% comes down, the 20% goes up. Now, what is the 20%? When we explored it in our shows, what we said was, he said something along the lines, and that's, again, just ballpark, 7% soul codes. No, 7%, I think what he said was all about the soul contracts. Yeah. And the rest was all about soul codes, you know, what kind of agents are we using, what, you know, who is, you know, for our development, what kind of hubs of interconnectivity and stuff like that. Now, let's leave the 80, 60, whatever. Actually, in fact, let's do something now. Just check in with your inner wisdom for one moment here and just look at where your percentage is right now. And see if it has.
Awesome question.
Yeah. Alfredo?
I don't know. That's an awesome question. I like that.
And go with what comes up for the first time. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't start thinking about it. You know, just let it come out, whatever that is, 60, 40, you know, 100, 0, whatever. Yeah. Now, let's just focus for a moment. I keep it with a 20, yeah, whatever that is for you. Now, let's look at that part of the DNA that is not connected to the memories, the soul contracts. Now, that has changed as well, because our soul contracts are no longer relevant, many of them, because we've been through karmic resolution, right? So lots of those contracts have been resolved. That's the whole fucking point why we're doing it. Sorry, Malik, don't listen. Bit of light language. Check it out. So
He speaks light language anyways.
so now we can add new soul contracts, right? From a very, we don't have to dive that, get into the womb process. No, we're doing it now, soul contracts now. And of course, now we can start also focusing on the soul code activation, right? And that might be by meeting people, speaking to certain people, or becoming more aware. Of course, it's like that, right? It's always been like that, but now have more awareness because we can now focus. As we're no longer having to focus on the automated responses because of the programming, we can more focus on that. Are there places we need to visit? Or be that now remote viewing, or be that now actually literally going there for an experience. So that. And then just to revisit again, what is the difference? As Alfredo mentioned, the frequency. And the frequency, the way we defined it at the time, is the spark, the impact of the spark, right? That it makes. And I want you to just think back now on the speech, on the meditation, on the reading that Alfredo did, yeah? That spark, that transforms those chemical thoughts into light. And those can travel all over the place, right? Now, the vibration that Amy mentioned, Lana, just let me just finish that one thought here. The vibration that Lana mentioned was it's the length. It's determined by the length of the spark. How long can we keep that spark going? Lots of people, it's like they spark off, and then they go and fall. Done. Exhausted. Yeah. Lots of spark, and nothing gets ever finished. Yeah, because there's no vibrational length to it that actually allows the dopamine that gets released through the spark to be carried through. Yeah. So when we start looking at balancing the vibration, the frequency, then the harmony, which is the result, harmonizing our environment in this time-space equation, and of course beyond, because you know the signature frequency itself is not limited to time and space. It's especially now where everything is obviously big chunks of all of that is being taken out. That's what I wanted to mention, because that's a nice one to start looking again. And again, Lana, I know her hands up. One more thing. Frequency, female, sure, you know, wah. Vibration, men, male. Okay, let's just draw this out a little bit, you know, let's work this. Matter, harmony, time-space equation, harmony
Please, what?
in the physical. Lana.
Oh, thank you. I was getting another impression or vision about the group here today, and what came to me was the 6 of us that are on here at the moment. What I kind of got was that the 5, you're talking about the frequency, the female frequency and the male vibration. And what I kind of got was we created like a 5-pointed star, the 5 a female in here. And each point of the star is one of us standing there. And in the center of the star, and that's sort of like the frequency of the 5 of us. And in the center is Alfredo, which is bringing in the vibration. And we are holding the frequency around him at the moment, and holding, and he's bringing out the vibration through his words, and it's vibrating out from like the center of the male aspect, and we are nurturing this vibration of his the male ness of him coming out, and we are the 5 points that's holding it together. And I have a feeling it was necessary for 5 and no more than 5. And I have a feeling that is why Harmonia was not able to get into the room today, because it was only a requirement of the 5 to create that 5-pointed star, so that Alfredo bring in the vibration out from the middle. Does that make sense? Does anybody get anything out of that?
I don't feel like talking all the time, but a couple of days ago, I was looking through things and I found, I picked this up again, and it's a star with many points on it. But I kept thinking, well, why is that so relevant right now? And this is just like a couple of days ago. And when you started talking, Lana, it immediately popped in my brain, go get the star.
Yeah.
And,
It looks something like that. And
yeah.
my vision is getting something of exactly what you show there. I have a star like that too, but it's like a candle holder. But
yeah, so it's this
I kind of drew on a paper here the 5-pointed star, and then Alfredo is like the very center of it, that is sending that vibration out through his words just now. But it needed only 5 for some reason.
Well, it makes that 6, and so it's that 3, 6, 9, but it started at 0, and it's all a creation. It's all a process, and everybody's speaking today, and they have their own gifts of understanding and vibration into it today, and it really feels. I was wondering why things were happening the way they were, but it makes sense because, when you do a gathering and you do a presentation to someone, you can have it prepared all ahead of time, or you can wait and allow till everybody comes and find out what really is supposed to be happening. And so it's pretty powerful when when you can stop and see that maybe it happened for a reason. Maybe there was a significance in that, only, this happened or that happened. So that's a cool, it's a cool, another dimension to bring into it, to allow us all to then create with that or from it, perhaps.
The numbers that Lana was bringing up sparked something in me from this week. So my dreams have been really vivid this week. And I've had this voice that's come in, like this female voice that's come into my dreams this week that will like point things out in symbolism of my dreams. Like, you need to remember this, this is important. So the things that she's pointed out were the pentagon, which is 5, and the 5-pointed star fits within the pentagon, and then a hexagon and the Star of David. Like, she showed me the Star of David right before I woke up the other morning. And I taught a crystal grid class on April 30th. And so while Lana was talking, I pulled the information out of there for the pentagon, the hexagon, and the Star of David. And I put it in the chat just for your information. But we have the 5 and we have the 6 at play in our chat today. So I wanted to share that because I think some of that might resonate as well.
Yeah, I think it's all connected in. And Alfredo being here today is just sending that vibration out, and we're holding the frequency around that star right now. So whatever we're doing, we're creating something here that is beyond my understanding right now.
Everybody's, I don't know if it does, can anybody else, like when I look at Amy and I look at Jennifer here, and Martina's a little bit harder because she's got more things behind her, but you can see people's energy coming out around them when, and for this whole time, your guys' energy fields have just been like really bright and very clear. And so a couple of times it's like brought to my attention. So with this going on right now, I feel like this is a time to bring that forward, that, it's to those who can see some things, you can see that it's active, that things are happening now. And it's kind of like a cluster gathering again to reignite, starting that fire again. It's really kind of cool.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Thanks for all of that. And thanks, Jen, as well. What I will do is the 3 things that you mentioned, I'll put that into the video before I send it out. I did do the recording, yeah.
I went ahead and attached the whole Word file for it that has like all the shapes that I covered. But
oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Well, guys, download that. That is something
Thanks, Jen.
that I won't be able to hold on, how do I download this? Download it now before you're going to lose it, because that's beautiful information.
Can I ask someone, like, there's been some great pieces that people have posted on Earth Nouveau, but they're like documents.
Yeah.
And my device that I have Facebook and stuff on doesn't allow me to do anything like that. If I give my email address, would somebody be kind enough to like forward some of that stuff to me through email? Like the recently, I forgot who it was that just put some documents on there yesterday, and it was like, oh, this would be cool. And I said, oh yeah, I can't download them on this device. So
you can't download it on the device. Okay, was that Sean's acupuncture thing?
Yes. And there's been a couple of other ones too that, like when you guys were really, a lot of people were putting, documents on the page, it was like, like, oh, I can't. So anyway, so if anybody is interested, after my name, the Spirit Bird, but it's all one word with the number Spirit Bird 17 Spirit Bird at Gmail. Okay. So anyway, I would appreciate that if anybody would be kind enough.
So spiritbird@gmail.com.
Spiritbird17,
Oh, 17.
the number 17.
Okay.
Sorry, thanks.
Okay. Cool. Have you tried to go onto the file section?
Who, me?
Yeah. You can't download it from the file section. Well, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
Well, the device I use is an old phone and it has like no memory stuff on it. And so it's like if I do it for pictures, I have to go back and delete pictures, but it just has no room to download files to open them up. So, you know, if I could just open them, but it makes you download them. So
Yeah. No worries.
Well, Robin, if the files are not necessarily in PDF, it's harder to open or to download them, I feel. So if the files are posted in a PDF format, it's much easier.
Right.
So that's why the ones that I post now, I figured out a way how to put them in PDF. And so I find that's easier for people to download.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Lana.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Fabulous. So what else? What else comes up with the conversation? We've talked quite a bit. We covered quite a bit today, right?
Is there something else you wanted to say about signature frequency? Because you told us to go back to that.
Yes. I think I said, I mean, are there any questions? Not that I would know the answer probably, but just throw it out. Are there any questions around that? Because, you know, if we don't know the answer, we can find out, right? But it makes a lot of sense to look at that now from a, you know, okay, so this is getting less. And then also this is something you can keep checking, you know, on a not daily basis, but whenever you feel like, and say, okay, so where am I, you know?
I was wondering, here in a moment, maybe it's too early of a question as well. Why are we nurturing something about Alfredo in the moment? There is something there that is coming out of him that is greater than we understand right now. And as I said, it might be too early of a question to ask. We may have to wait.
I'm gonna have a stab on this, Lana.
Go ahead, but don't kill it.
Well, I can't promise that, Schnooks. Alfredo being the representation of our male. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the nurturing that I am perceiving, and I have been perceiving that for some time now, that because I've been, we talked about this at some stage, you know, everybody says age of Aquarius, female rising, right? I'm going to invert that and actually just say male rising, because what I've been starting to realize more and more, having had distorted my own male female for the longest time, there's a male rising within the female happening. And I can only make that connection to you, what you just said, Lana, because he is showing us the male that we are allowing ourselves to rise now. And how is this beautiful being showing us that? Through vulnerability and kindness. And this has been, I've started looking at the male rising and I'm thinking, okay, so hang on a second. What have we perceived as male? Okay, protector and going to war and being, you know, doing that kind of thing. And that's actually not the case. The male energy within ourselves, and of course reflected outside in the partners, can be the support and the providing the support in any form for the female imagination, for the female spark. Of course, that doesn't mean I see both in Alfredo. I don't see Alfredo needing a female in order to create the frequency. He's got it all. He's got the vibration and the frequency going, as far as I'm concerned. But for me, his presentation was the whole setup here was a reminder of nurturing, as you use the word, Lana, the male within myself from a place of kindness, from a place of vulnerability, and from a place of support, supporting my own female that can be like, woo! Yeah. It's almost reining it in, but not in a place, in a way of dominating it, by no means, not trying to control it, but actually let me say, oh, wow, you, wow, imagine it, wow, I want to serve you.
This brings me back to our conversation from last week too, where what are you going to say to people coming in that are not of our density, not of our frequency? We don't speak the same language. How do we interact with those people? And I'm gonna go through several. I'm gonna be all over the place. So when you think about like the woman rising, what that brings to me is coming out of being in the background and kind of being meek and soft and projecting forward and having more boldness and having that male energy coming in to soften that delivery. Like you can come out and be yourself, but you don't have to do it aggressively. You can do it authentically as a softer version of yourself. So I think that Alfredo's tone brought that in, at least for me. And so when I think of what's our service or our offering to the next generation of who explores here, I see that being part of Alfredo's and what he offers energetically to us, and that of bringing our energy into it, bringing the male out of us in a safe way. Did I say that coherently?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bringing the male out and allowing the male within the female, and this is where the female rising makes a lot of sense as well, because what that actually means, the female gender, the woman rising is through allowing the male to lose the armor and become the supporter, become the provider. Exactly. Yeah. So the female can actually, just be obnoxious within, because the male will come in and say, okay, just tone it down a little bit. And if it does,
You can break out, but you don't have to be the Kool-Aid man, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
if we look at the male, it's the same thing, the doers, and that's where the soul and the spirit, you can look at it from all these perspectives, right? The being and the doing. This is why we can't just say I'm a doer, I'm a beer, I just want to be. No, you can't. Right? Because you're implementing all those elements now. You can't just say, oh, I'm a soul. No, only the soul's journey is important. No, now we got to start understanding, or maybe people understood it from the first place anyway. And of course, that you can't. At the end of the day, there will be a time, I don't know, next week or maybe in 3 months or 10 months. If we're still doing this, we'll want to. We don't have to make a distinction between that. Obviously, that's all integrated. We're embodying everything as one now. But until we get there, it's always good to look at it, dissociate a little bit, and then bring it together. Does that make any sense? That was my contribution.
Yeah, you didn't kill it either. You enhanced what it is all about. And what I was getting as you guys were talking, I was getting a 5-pointed toroidal field falling into the middle, coming out. The energy is flowing from the 5 points into the middle, coming out like a toroidal field in all directions. And it was creating like one of those flowers with many petals coming out of it. Eventually, as it grows, it gets bigger and bigger with more layers and more layers. And it was creating like a new flower of life pattern out of the center, from the center, and flowing in and out, in and out. And what it was kind of doing is creating an equilibrium between the male female energies, and we're coming back into that oneness of the blend of both. And it kind of makes sense to me now why I grew up in a household of boys and I still live in a household of boys. The balancing, I was learning over the lifetime here how to balance my own energy with the masculine energy in a continuous way. And so now I have an opportunity to share in this very moment of now this kind of vision I'm getting of all of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what you're saying,
Martina,
totally makes sense.
Amy.
Sorry,
yes, I got a vision of everything you guys said, because I had this feeling of we used to separate the male and the female, and now I got this beautiful image with Alfredo showing us the male and female of this beautiful dance together. And now they can come together and finish each other's sentences like Alfredo did. He was male, he was female, he was male, he was female. And the vision that came to me was, I don't know if you know this painting by Klimt. It's called The Lovers. It's so beautiful. And I've always been attracted to that painting. And it's so beautiful how he just holds his hand on her face and looks into their eyes. And the feeling I always got from that was, wow, that is beautiful. And just so, just embraces the whole male, female together. Their beautiful colors and the clothing and her looking up at him and wow. So I just got chills with that. That's how I see it. That's how I see the male and female now. We don't have to do that like negative male, positive male, negative female. It's going to be a blend. Blend, I was feeling like a beautiful dance.
Male, female, soul, spirit, vibration, frequency.
Incoming, outgoing.
Yes.
Incoming, outgoing.
Doing, being. What else we got? I've written something down. Will make imagination. All of that leading into harmony, matter. Lana, you triggered something in me. I heard in the last show Linda did. She said something I haven't heard before, which was nice. And you just said that with your flower. She was saying that the transformation into the radiant body is basically coming from a 12-petaled flower of life into the 144-petaled flower of lotus flower. That's just a nice little metaphor to work with. And you just mentioned something along those lines.
Yeah. Well, I was seeing that as the frequency was coming into the middle of the vibration, and then it's flowing out, from top to bottom, bottom to top.
Oh yeah.
Each time that it falls in and it comes back out, it creates a new petal. And so it's infinite. It has no end to it. The flow is continuous and it's eternal. That's what I was kind of seeing and getting out from that. And that's what we're kind of creating here right now. something that may have existed, but in a new, a brand new creation.
Good. That's what we want to do.
Because right now we are on the edge of unknowingness. And so at the edge of unknowingness, this is something that we're adding to that edge of unknowingness to get into the unknowingness of the future. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what you're saying, Lana, kind of reminds me of what Martina had said back at the beginning about people sparking and kind of drifting off. And what I keep seeing is that, you know, instead of sparking and drifting off, sparking and allowing a continuation of that sparking or developing from it. And that it almost reminded me of like the old diagrams that they'd show you of the electron, you know, going around making orbits, but every orbit was another petal on the leaf, you know. So that was kind of cool because I never thought of it in that perspective. But you know, there's a lot of things that are being brought up today that are being woven together in a whole new tapestry. And, you know, it really is like a whole new like beginning with what's happening here today. It's kind of neat, you know.
Yeah, I like it. That's what we do. So, yep.
I don't want to get political, but like when you're talking about like the male and female really being redefined, look at what's going on with like gender reassignments, recognitions, everything. Like there's so much neutrality coming into gender now, especially in the younger generation. I think that's really reflected in what we're talking about as well.
Absolutely. This is this whole hoo-ha, you know, this chaos about gender neutrality. And then of course, you know, we have that we had that Johnny Depp trial, which was beautifully, you know, facilitating this whole change and things like that, you know, depending on how you look at it, of course. But if you look at it from what's like the bigger picture, then it's perfect. Yeah. Everything, this whole chaos that this dark night of the soul, the collective is going through is, as far as I'm concerned, it's beautiful. You know, the more chaos, the better for me it is. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And that's maybe the spot, the frequency that, you know, I can already, the vibration guy says, okay, just calm down. Because some people actually, you know, fall apart and they fall asleep again. I'm like, okay. So,
you know, in watching movies versus TV, it's really interesting that in watching characters, you know, you say, is it male? Is it female? Is it, you know, what does it see itself as? But it's so funny because it's already so existent in society that I think we just have not been seeing it. But by bringing it into open, and a lot of people, you know, it really allows then for those beings that are bringing forth that experience, you know, in our 3D world, you know, a chance to really to live it and to fully embody it, because it's like there's so many more identifications as just a male or just a female. And in native terminology, if a male was in a male body, but he really was more feminine, they would call him a he, she, you know, and they would say he walked between two worlds. He would be able to walk both worlds and understand both worlds. And, you know, so there are many more older cultures who are much more accepting of what is. And I think it's just that we've been, you know, screaming and yelling about it, but in a lot of ways, it's just trying to get everybody to look and stop and to say, it already is. It already, for whatever reason, it already is. Souls are already coming in and identifying or feeling like this. And, you know, so it's a way of kind of enlarging our acknowledgement that there's more than just human beings in this world. You know, there's more than just human beings in the universe, you know. So.
Absolutely. It's the opening. This is obviously the groundwork that has to be done now, that, you know, elevated level of neutrality so that we can start welcoming, you know, all the different species. and things like that. Yeah, absolutely. Now, before we close off, did you guys think of any idioms, any expressions that, or think of it now, that could, walking the edge of unknowingness, that kind of thing? I think we explored that at some. Have we explored that before? Walking, yeah, I think we did. Are there any other expressions that come in, sparked off today's chat, that we could explore and just find a little bit more that we could apply to our soul purification?
I don't know if this fits what you're asking, but at the last couple of days, I just felt really out of place in my life, which, not that I had my feelings hurt or anything, but like even at home by myself, like I just felt like I didn't fit in, and I tried to put words to it this morning. And what came to me was, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And so I think that's exactly the idiom that you're looking for. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Like that's what kept coming to me. And I felt like that was really like the old parts of my life that don't fit with where I'm going. They don't feel right around me anymore.
And Jen, can I tell you the idiom exactly like I think what you're feeling is? I wrote this down before we started. Parting of the ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it felt true to what you were saying, and I wrote it before we even started.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
In a way, it sparks me off to think of, I just went out as quick as it came in, that, you don't have to be who you thought you was going to be or who you were. You can just be who you are. And, it kind of feels almost the same. And, when I first started posting back in the early, 2013 or something like that, and I lost a couple of years and I started again, I used to post every single day, and I would write a thing every single day, and I felt like I had to be there every single day. And then I got to the point where it was like, well, why are you doing it? And part of the time it was ego, and part of the times, well, I don't want to miss a day. And so there was all these different things, and it said, well, what's the point of it? And it's, well, to share. Well, if it's the point to share, then what is it that you're sharing? Is it from ego? Is it from mind? Is it from this? What are you sharing from? And then it was like, okay, I'll share when I feel inspired to. So it's kind of been an ongoing thing. And, I find lots of times if you get something that, well, it's that ego part, is wanted to be part of the group or wanted to be this. And Jen, feeling like, separated from everybody or different or whatever, that's been a heavy thing the last few years for me. So just, getting over and stopping yourself from moving in things that you can really give and share and say, well, it is time to get out there and teach again. It is time to offer things where you get money coming back, so, I don't know where I went with that, but I think I threw a lot of things in the anyway, it obviously, Jen, that sparked a whole catharsis for me. So thanks. Amy too. Yeah.
So I've come up with an idiom from what you girls just said, ladies. An idiom is, you all know what an idiom is, an expression that is being used in the colloquial now, and, we don't really pay attention to, but it's got quite interesting meaning to it, and very often a limited meaning. So what I'm hearing here, maybe with a slight little twist, without killing it, Lana, you can't have your cake and eat it.
Can or can't?
You can't. The expression is, you can't have your cake and eat it.
I say, watch me.
And I would say,
I don't know.
and I would say, wait a minute, we can have our cake and eat it too, but this time we're going to share it.
There you go.
What we do with the cake is that we create the balance with the cake. So we can have cake every day and eat it, but we don't overeat the cake. We have just a very thin slice every day.
We have enough.
So the cake lasts forever. So we can have it each day, a piece. So we don't get overweight from eating so much cake, right? So you create that balance each day. Have your cake and eat it too.
We
But
create
it's,
0 calorie.
I'm sorry, what?
We create 0 calorie cake with cornstarch.
Okay.
Use honey instead of sugar.
Jen, can you be where you are at and at home at the same time then?
What's that?
Can you be where you're at right now and at home at the same time? You have your cake and eat it too?
Perfecting. I'm working on it, but yes.
How about it? Can you be at home no matter where you are?
Yes.
Parting ways.
Separating of the
Can we,
tides, separating of the waters.
can we part ways and at the same time stay connected?
Yeah.
Because
I
this,
think it's a personal message just for you, Jen, because you said, but you can't stay here. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You have obviously is a very, very old soul here. So you don't have to go home back from wherever you first came from or wherever you call home in the universe. But the planet is also saying you can't stay here forever because new souls have to come in. The future is a different place. So you've done all you can while you're here. Do whatever you can. You don't have to go home. You could be a teacher in the future, but you also can't stay here forever.
I like that.
Expand that to the earth now, Lana. Everybody here right now.
Well, that includes everybody here right now. We've been here such a long time. We can't just stay here forever. We can remain and be a teacher at some level, but eventually we have to leave because
Whoops, sorry.
Otherwise, we won't take the next step for ourselves in our evolution, our growth. If we stay here and hang around forever.
Great point. Great point. It's kind of like, what's going on worldwide right now. And, we're here to help that process ignite and get going again. And not that it's going to happen instantaneously, but yeah, subconsciously, it could be reminding us all here right now that, we weren't made to just come to earth and stay to earth for, from now until the end of our existence, but that, we came here to participate and then go on. So that's kind of cool.
so let's look at, you can have your cake and eat it, because obviously we are rebels, right? So we obviously turn it around, because if anyone says you can't have your cake and eat it, then obviously that's bullshit, right? Because we're infinite beings and we're simultaneously living. So we can choose to just pop in here and say hello and then go, send versions of ourselves fortified, all over the place. And maybe it's time to acknowledge our infinity.
Yeah.
Because we are a copy of the universe, and we are more than that, because the universe is a copy, is only exists because we are here to observe it. Right.
Yeah.
So we can have the cake and fucking eat it.
Jen's message in the chat box here reminds me of the song Low Rider.
Oh, low right.
I love that song.
Cool song.
I don't know why my brain is programmed like this, but I got Beastie Boys lyrics for every situation that comes up in life. So disregard them. I didn't want to take up everybody's time with it, but Alfredo, I put an idiom in the chat for you.
I love Beastie Boys. I always like that intro song to the Star Trek movies. I forgot the.
Read
But
it
yeah,
out.
no, Beastie Boys rock hard.
I just watched Stranger Things, and the two of the kid characters kept singing the theme song for Never Ending Story. And I don't know how many of you knew it, but I knew it from my son watching it, and I loved it. But when they started singing, I realized what they were doing. It's like, oh yeah, that was a great movie. Yeah, you know, so I tie music to everything. I don't know. It's cool. You too? Yeah.
Well, it's a multi-million letter alphabet, isn't it? That's
Yes.
another subject matter we can start exploring from a different perspective.
That would be cool.
Let it flow, let yourself go, slow and low. That is the tempo. Let it flow, let yourself go, slow and low. That is the tempo.
That's what came to me for Alfredo. He's got great flow.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Now I know why he likes being here, because he's getting so many compliments from all the chicks.
Oh,
Okay.
He's like the baby in the group.
Oh.
yeah, I'm probably the youngest.
It makes the grandma best.
Well, I like to hang around wise people, you know.
He sneaked in and he's getting nurtured by all the females in the group.
He holds his
Yeah.
own.
And look at it though, you're getting that male interaction without being dominated and without somebody forcing their opinion on you and telling you that their way is the only way, and you know, all that other stuff that a lot of times comes. So it's kind of neat to have that male energy brought in on a new wave of beingness. You know, he really, you know, he listens, he watches, he gets inspired, he speaks, he writes, he can be very passionate. You know, all those things are things women, I think, like to see and experience from other people at times. So when it can come in through a male energy, that's kind of a whole new ride. So, whew.
He's awakening the male within us women.
Yeah.
Awakening. Male rising. Appreciation.
Oh yeah.
Now, I was another thing before we go, talking about all this oneness and, you know, getting back into unity and being a copy of the universe and stuff. And I think I showed it last time, you know, that round, the circle with the dot inside, the monad, the God monad or the universal monad, whatever you want to call it. And there's homework for you. I want you to strip off naked before you go to bed tonight in front of the mirror and find that monad on your body. And for some, it will be easier to see. And for some, need a bit more imagination. And then just acknowledge it. Know that you're it. And then go to bed. And maybe you can ask for a dream about it or something.
What can you clarify that a little bit more, Martina, what it is, the male monad?
Look for no, this is a symbolic thing. So don't.
Like you're talking about like the symbol of the sun, the circle with the dot in the center? Right?
Yeah, it's the beginning, you know, where before the cell division. It's like
okay.
The monad, you know, the space, everything, the infinite possibilities. There's so many different definitions. I can't really remember any of them now at the moment, but it's really that infinite possibilities. and just looking at that space. And then just find it reflected in your body, or on your body rather, as you look at your body in the mirror.
Well, if you think about it, Martina, that
No, don't give it
circle.
away. Don't give it away.
No,
If-
I'm just saying, I'm just bringing it back to our conversation here. If you think about it, the circle with the dot in the middle is exactly what we were talking about earlier with the 5-point star and Alfredo being in the center. He's the dot in the center.
How do you feel about that, Alfredo, being the dot in the center?
I don't know. I gotta ask my heart, huh? I definitely.
Bloody dots. What's going on?
Yeah, I can give you a response from my mind, but those,
It reminds me of in the center of a wheel, you know, where all the spokes attach.
Right.
Fabulous.
Oh,
Good
so-
analogy.
Fabulous.
yeah, I don't know. I definitely get certain feelings about being here with y'all for sure. It's always apparent every time the first initial gathering. I just feel my heart. So I just know it feels something different when I'm with y'all.
Well, think
Yeah.
about it. Alfredo is the only guy that's lasted out through the since
Yeah,
the Art Nouveau hub started.
I think about that a
having-
lot, Lana. It just I mean, I try not to think about it, but at the same time I think about it. I'm like, where's Maddie? Where's David? Where are all the people that used to be here before I got here? And then I always think like, am I the reason why they're not here? Like what? And then I'm like, no, just get out of your mind, Alfredo. Just let it go. That
I think it's your fault, Alfredo.
Well,
that's what I was thinking. It's like yeah. I've been thinking about these things, Lana, but I try not to.
Scared man.
I must admit, Alfredo, though, I've thought the same things, and I know at times I can come off pretty aggressively by watching myself. And I think, oh, do I overpower people? Do I need to step back? And I thought, well, I'm not being myself if I do. And so it's like trying to find out if it's okay just to be me and let me be me without that self-judgment that I see you doing now. Because,
Well, I'm still here.
yes, you are.
Yeah,
So you can
very
have
grateful to you, Martina.
said, and you can be intense as you want, and you can be as vulnerable as you want, and you can portray everything. You can be angry. You can do whatever you want. You have permission. This is my show here.
Well, it reminds me of what Andrew says. Who is going to make it in the end? Right? All
Right.
those who are living on the planet right now, we're the ones that made it to the end. It was always about the end. I remember him talking about that.
Oh, there it was mute.
It was
yeah,
always
thank you,
about the
Martina.
end.
I can't hear.
Well, and also, guys, I mean, we have the guys come back in, and that's what I love about our show here is that people come in and then they leave and then they come back in. We had Sean come in the other day, and then we have, what's his lovely face?
Tom.
Tom coming in, and that's what this is all about, come in, and if you got something different to do, then and then you come back in and you come in with a new inspiration, got something else to tell us. This is this is not a prison, a Zoom prison where you have to be here. Stay out. It's only for me because I have to come on every week. And it's an absolute pleasure.
Well, what I'm saying, it was always about the end. Is it comes full circle today? It feels like to me. I don't know about you guys, but it feels like it's the end is where Alfredo brought it in. He lasted out through all of us females talking all the time, and he made it to the end. And he was the one that's creating a new birth for something new here that is evolving out of this new star that you guys were having things coming into you for the past few days about. So Alfredo, you're the man.
Thanks, Lana.
Okay, my lovelies. Any closing moments, closing words for today? I think the last couple of days were particularly difficult. I've seen quite a few people go through stuff, and I'm excited to say I don't think it's gonna. We haven't even scratched the surface. I think it's gonna get really much more interesting, and this is why I think we're gonna keep going here, because we can support each other through this. All the women bring their males out, to really bring that support forward, and the vulnerability that will be required, and just really honoring and witnessing each other's journey here. That in itself is beautiful, and I truly do believe that we really haven't even started. Our work is only starting. So, potent people, thanks for coming on. Thanks for all your contributions. It's been a lovely 2 hours, and the recording's going to go out, and I'll see you next week.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Later, y'all.
Bye-bye.